boys and girls. Today is day 5, our final day of poetry, and we are going to begin with our learning goal. Students will learn to recognize imagery, rhyme scheme, meter, syllabification, and various forms of poetry. Our success criteria. Students will learn to use imagery, rhyme scheme, meter, and syllabification by creating various forms of poetry. Today we will be writing poetry that uses the 5 senses. I wanted to review with you what a simile is, this type of figurative language that we will be using in today's poems. So a simile, they are a special kind of metaphor because similes always use like or as to compare things. So, for example, she swims like a fish. He is sly as a fox. So I wanted to make sure that we were on the same page and very clear on what a simile is because you will be using those in today's poetry writing. So, 5 senses poems. I think that out of all the poetry that we've written and the examples we've had, this would probably be my favorite today because we have some really outstanding examples and I'm very excited to show them to you. So, 5 senses poems use your senses to study or investigate a subject. The focus of the poem is on using similes. Similes are comparisons between 2 unlike things using words like or as. So the directions. On the first line, you are going to tell what color an emotion or idea looks like to you. On line 2, you are going to tell what the emotion or idea tastes like. So you have to imagine what it has. You have to imagine that it has some kind of taste. On line 3, you have to tell what the emotion or idea would sound like. On line 4, tell what emotion or idea smells like. Line 5, tell what the emotion or idea looks like. And then finally, on the 6th line, tell how the emotion or idea makes you feel. So here is an example. Summer is yellow. It tastes like freshly squeezed lemonade. It sounds like kids splashing in a lake. It smells like the most fragrant rose in my mom's garden. It looks like boating on our favorite lake. It makes me feel overjoyed. So you can see how those other elements of poetry all come into play on this one single style of poetry. That's one of the reasons I think I like it. You really have to focus on ideas and content. You have to focus on figurative language. You have to focus on word choice. You have to focus on voice. You have to focus on all of them. So let's look at a couple other examples. This first one, I like even the colors that they used in the poem. It's called, it's all about problems. Problems are black. They sound like children crying. They taste of castor oil and smell like spinach. They look like monsters. They make you feel unwanted. I thought that was very well written and descriptive. This one I really enjoyed as well. This one's called Sadness. Sadness is the color of an eye full of tears. Sadness tastes like a rotting mushroom. Sadness smells like a dying daisy. Sadness looks like a family being split up. Sadness sounds like the screeching note of a violin. Sadness feels like losing a loved one. By Natalie Aruba. And I love her illustration of an eye here. Very well written, very well detailed. Okay, so you can see the similes here. She's comparing sadness to each one, to the rotting mushroom, sadness to the dying daisy, sadness to the family being split up. So these are all similes used here. And the same with this one. Problems to being black, problems to children crying, problems to castor oil, problems to the spinach, the smell of spinach. So you can see how your senses can definitely play a role and make an absolutely fantastic poem here. Okay, so in conclusion, remember this type of poem in particular is going to really pull out all of these elements of poetry. We have figurative language, imagery, voice, ideas and content, and word choice. Again, for your final day of poetry, I will drop a puzzle piece in Schoology where you will be writing a 5-sentence poem. If you would like to write more than one, you are definitely more than welcome to do so. I will have the directions on what goes on each line in there as well. If you have any more questions, please reach out to your teachers.